Shreya, it's like you're floating in the clouds.
Hello. New background.
Dig it.
Everyone sitting outside today?
Aren't you? It looks like you're sitting outside.
I'm not. I'm at home. Just at home.
I'm on a enclosed porch, but it is kind of outsidey.
I'm fully au naturel. No screens, no windows, bugs flying all over the place. I'm also on a rocking contraption, which is super nice.
Figured why not? Sit outside.
You went outside? Peer pressure?
I am now outside. Dre, I'm closer to you now. I'm in the suburbs of Montreal.
I am in northern Ontario right now, so I'm probably a little further now.
Oh yeah, I was through there last week.
Whereabouts? I'm in Sudbury.
Oh, I was through Sudbury actually. I uh,
Nice.
I drove from Vancouver to Montreal, so I'm here, and
Oh,
I'll be visiting with our mutual friend Nick next Friday in Toronto.
nice.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a good. Well, let me know. We should meet up if you're in Toronto.
Okay, are you back next week?
Yeah, I'm gonna be back next week.
Okay, yeah, I'm only in for 24 hours, but I'll be getting there kind of noon on Friday. So
Perfect.
yeah.
Yeah, let's meet up after office hours.
Yes, I'll have to do them from the train.
Oh, you're there until noon, you said.
No, I arrive on Friday at kind of, well, I guess like one,
Okay,
whatever.
cool.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
let's meet up on Friday or something. Or
that's great.
Saturday morning. I'm cool. Yeah.
Cool. Right on. Are you out of the smoke now? It looks like you're kind of out of the smoke.
Yeah, the smoke is not a thing right now, which is nice.
Yes. When I was in Thunder Bay, I hit the day.
Yeah, that's where all the action's at, just northwest of there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There between there and the lovely town of Ignace.
Hmm.
Yeah, we had a little bit of what do you say? The smoke, or was it your smoke, Trey? Is it Canadian smoke, or whose
It
smoke?
depends. I mean, I actually brought some
Who do I
cigars.
blame? Who do I blame for this smoke?
It's I brought some cigars, so you can blame the smoke from for later today on this delicious cigar.
On this fine cigarello.
I was gonna wait for Mateus to show up and not one up him with my cheap cigar, but like one down him with my cheap cigar. Yeah, as far as who's to blame, it's kind of weird. It's like uh yeah, we just happen to have lots and lots of forests up here that do catch on fire, but there are a bunch of forest fires in the United States as well. But that would be like blaming California for a tidal wave or for a flood in Vancouver because they happen to share the same ocean, or the circulation uh, happens to point in our direction. So yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. It's just we share one planet, right?
We do. Yeah, but it blew right out after we got here Friday night, Friday evening, and Saturday it was we sent it back, I think. I think that was the thing. We just sort of said like, no, go back. Let me check your papers. Nope, invalid. Go back.
Yeah, if enough people just point their fans in the right direction, you could really influence the prevailing winds.
Yeah.
You're in New York right now?
I am, we were in New York and now we are in New Jersey, where the
Nice.
weather is like pretty awesome. It's like
Yeah.
perfect, not muggy July New Jersey that I remember when I was a kid, where
Great.
yeah, it's perfect. So that's the weather conversation. Who's got something else? Joel,
We
you look like, oh, sorry, Shreya, go.
oh,
Yeah, you got something. No,
we
go.
have a little workshop. I
Sorry, what's
signed up.
that?
I signed up for the side project share.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that because I've been on vacation. But okay, so great. That's great. Perfect. Um, so we
And
have a side project share.
yes, and I also have my friend Sneha. She's also joining us today.
Oh, hi.
Hello. Hello. Nice to
Awesome.
be here.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah.
Nice to be here.
We love having guests. Did you bring donuts? What'd you actually I got donuts. I do actually have donuts. Um yeah, so Shreya, you'll share. Um, but I'm gonna need to I'm literally gonna have to grab a donut before. I don't want to miss anything. So uh check the microphone and I'll be right back.
Are you going to be sharing a screen? Are you
Share,
gonna?
you're on mute. Yeah.
So I will also share the link here so we
Perfect.
can go and hang out.
We can all get ready while Julian gets his donut sorted.
Yeah.
Any bets on what kind of donut it's going to be? You think it's going to be like old fashioned, plain glazed,
Plain
sprinkles?
glazed.
You think it's going to be a plain glazed donut?
I think
All
it's chocolate or matcha.
Matcha. I don't see.
He's in New Jersey.
I think sprinkles. He just came off vacation, right? He's still trying to like find the fun. Little sprinkles.
Yeah. Powdered sugar. I say maybe a little bit of powdered sugar in there.
He's in Jersey. I'm in South Jersey. He might be further north, but around I'd say Boston cream if he was down here. It'd be a
Yeah.
little-
Okay. You know what? I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to change my bet to Boston cream.
even though
All
it's
right.
not Boston, it's Jersey, but that's
It's Boston adjacent cream.
I
I'll
once
go
stayed in the
with
hotel.
maple. I'll go with maple glazed bacon.
See that's very Canadian. That's a very Canadian answer right there.
I stayed in the hotel in Boston that invented the Boston cream pie, and it's supposed to be haunted. And I got there at like 3 a.m. on Halloween night, but I didn't get one of the haunted floors. I looked it up, but you know, it would have been fun.
Does the Miro board link work?
Oh, let me check. It's just asking me to sign in.
Oh,
It knows I have an account with them. That's why. Your board is ready, is what it says.
Yeah, I'm in there.
yeah.
And are you able to edit it or just view it?
I'm stuck at the accept cookies button here. It's making me jump through a bunch of hoops.
It seems read only for me, just because I don't have all the things to like drop in.
Take me to the board.
Oh,
Goodness. It's funny. It's like they insist that you enter a work email, but they don't
Yeah.
like Gmail as being a work email. And it's like, well, that's my work email.
What do I need to do?
Oh, you don't need to do anything. This is all.
Oh yeah, never mind for me. I think I'm just not signed in. I thought it signed me in automatically, but it didn't.
No, it's sending me a link to like. I canceled my Miro account once upon a time, so I think they're just angry that I'm not paying the money. That's what's happening. I am in. Excellent.
What happened?
We have
Oh,
a meat
what do you got? What do you got there, Julian?
chocolate.
No, it's got a blob of like some kind of caramel, or maybe in there.
We were all taking bets on what kind of donut you were going to come back with.
It's from a place called Purple Glaze. Get it? Purple Glaze.
Oh, that's in my brain.
It's very
Lately, things just don't seem the same.
very New Jersey kind of like witty
Who,
donut shop name.
who called out maple glaze? I would say you're the winner of this one.
Yeah.
But no bacon then.
Nice.
There's no bacon, but
There is a bacon one in there though. I was
Oh.
tempted.
I knew
Bacon.
it.
It's bacon adjacent in multiple ways. Yeah, and the board still says for me, you're on this board as a visitor, which gives you view-only access, even though I logged in with like my official account with Miro, you know.
That means I need to know something about it, right?
Shreya, I just sent you like a request. I think you need to approve it.
Oh,
Seems like we're not on the right plan or something.
I clicked the Miro link, and so now I'm in the Miro.
Yeah, I think view is fine. We'd ideally like you all to have edit access on this. That's what we're figuring out.
so mm, mm, mm. Do you? I did accept your request.
Okay.
Do I need to? It sounds like I might be entering into some kind of hell if I try to log into Miro. Is that what's going on?
A lot of
get
hoops.
the usual speed bumps. The
I think the
users.
problem is I have an account that works today. I see on here it's 2045, so I guess
Seems like I can't upgrade. You have to upgrade. There's like a trial that you can get.
Yeah.
You are
Okay.
on board as visitor, which gives you view only access.
hmm It's
Zero.
easy. You just have to pay $20 per person you want to in the board, and you're good.
Okay, now I did buy a trial.
Okay.
So just refresh your page.
All right, let's do it.
That didn't work.
Not still getting the viewer thing.
Hmm. They made it harder. $20 per person? Even visitors?
I don't know. I was just joking, but sometimes they
No,
do
no,
that.
no. No, I don't think so, Shreya. I think yeah, it says that, it should have unlimited guests.
But can they edit it? On my side, it says,
Maybe I can add people.
yeah, maybe we just add whoever is.
Can I have an email ID? Any one email ID just to test this?
I think I logged in as this.
I tried something else. If you can refresh once. Sorry.
I
Yeah.
refreshed.
Yeah, it looks I refreshed and it's good now. Looks like I can edit and I have all the maker things on the left, all the
Yep.
tools.
Ditto. Whatever you did worked.
Yes. Awesome.
Awesome.
Took us a while to solve that.
We did it together.
Shreya, should we dive right in then?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll share my screen.
You'll have to ask Julian for permission.
Yeah, I just said that.
Oh, did usually something pops up. Did I lose it? No.
I just requested it, so it should be on your screen.
Okay, I don't see it.
I just sent it again.
I still don't see it.
Oh,
Turn off waiting room. Disable that. Share settings. Host tools for share settings. No. No.
oh. Shreya, maybe you can try.
Or we just follow you on the Miro board?
Yep, that's also fine. I am here.
Here it goes.
Okay. We can do it. Awesome. So we'll just start with quick introductions. I am Shreya. Some of you know me, and I'm here with my friend Sneha. We have a little workshop for you. So for next couple of minutes, we'll be thinking about what happens to our thinking and our craft when AI removes the struggle from our work. So this isn't an anti-AI workshop. We are just asking, when tools make something effortless, what did all that effort give us? And we are focusing on the classroom, high school, higher ed education, where we learn how to think. And we've all jumped on the Miro board link, and Sneha would tell us a little bit more about productive struggle.
Yeah, so what is productive struggle? What does it even mean? If I had to use one sentence to describe it, it is the effortful student-centered process. It is characterized by the completion of a cognitively demanding task. It requires persistence, ingenuity, and it requires a deeper understanding of the relationships between problems. So think about the last time you really wrestled with something at work, right? Maybe it was a layout that wouldn't resolve, or maybe a synthesis session after research that took, 3 tries to get something meaningful out of it. Or maybe it was you were drawing and it was a sketch that you redrew 10 times. So what did that struggle give us? It gives us judgment, intuition, ownership, and sometimes even joy. So, but there's a problem inherently with this, because we have AI models that are trained to reduce friction. So responses that satisfy immediately get rated higher than the ones that demand work, according to research by Anthropic. So frictionless is the product, and but easy answers work against learning. So this is the tension that we're trying to address in this session. Is struggle really needed for learning? So Bjork says yes. Conditions that make performance improve fast tend to produce learning that doesn't last. But effortful recall and generating your own answer, while they feel worse, they hold better over time. And Kapoor says that we should let students fail at a problem before you teach it. And then they understand it more deeply than they did when they first approached the problem after understanding the concept. So these are some of the trade-offs that are being made at scale when we have students and others use AI tools for learning. So this is an emerging area of research, but there are 3 cognitive costs, you could say, that are more certain. So the first one is over-reliance. And what that means is that people accept AI output without checking it. And explanations make it worse because it raises trust, but it doesn't raise understanding. The second one is overconfidence. So fluent output feels like you own competence, uh, but the knowledge workers who trusted the AI more did less independent thinking, and the ones who trusted themselves more did more independent thinking. And then lastly, there's like just weaker performance once the tool is removed. So students practicing with an unguarded AI tutor beat their peers when they had it, but they scored worse on that exam when there was, as compared to a no AI group, uh, yeah, when the tool was removed. So there are some long-term implications of AI use in learning, and we feel that there's not enough attention there, and it's largely unknown. And so that is the basis for our speculative design workshop today. So we're going to be traveling 20 years from now, and so over to Shreya to take you there.
Hello. So for this next activity, we took some inspiration from Julian. And here's the premise that there's a time machine. You board it with a crew, and we'll make groups of two, and one group will have three people. And you board it, and it only travels forward and holds a few people. We are not going there to change anything, or we are just going there to look. And the screen shows 2045. You arrive at your high school, and AI has been there in the hallways for over a decade. It came in the same way laptops, screens, AR, VR technology did, and now it's part of the building. You have around 5 to 10 minutes, and you may sit in the back of the classroom, open the lost in drawer, or even read what's on the walls, and or even watch a ritual. You're going to bring back one object, something small enough that would fit in your pocket. Uh, so what happened from now till 2045 is AI entered the classroom. Teachers experimented, and while some embraced it, there were some people who were resisting it. Policies were slow, and adoption was not that slow. And everyone was using AI in their schools as they wanted. And we reach 2045 over here. And yeah, some of the questions you could think about from Sneha.
Yeah. So the basis of the activity today is, what does your school look like when productive struggle has been optional for 20 years? So, what do people do when they don't know something in this new world? What does a mistake look like? And what ritual or habits exist in this new world that didn't 20 years ago today? If you come down and follow me, we have an activity sheet that you can fill out.
Mhm.
How many people do we have on this call? Should we do them individually, Shreya, or should we do them as a group?
Maybe like two people in a group, and one group will have three people, I think.
Yeah, that sounds good. So you can pair up with someone and take one activity card here.
Julian would have to put us in groups.
Okay.
I'll just how do you do that
Done.
again?
And also write the name on your name right next to the number, so we know which sheet everyone's taking.
Yeah,
I don't know how to do breakout rooms. Where is that? Breakout rooms. And so how many rooms did you want?
just two is no. Oh, actually, I don't know. Shreya, go for it.
Two per group. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, you guys are gonna go in there too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, okay. Okay. Wait, how come I'm not listed here? Who's Appendix D data set?
That's Sandro.
Oh, is that Sandro?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
Maybe I can just go through the card as we're figuring that out.
Okay, so this is all set. So you just let me know when you want me to click the button.
Yep. Thank you. I'll just explain it. So Shreya's explained the scenario, and feel free to go back and read in case you want to revisit it. But what is the actual activity? So you have to bring back this object from 2045. Think about the location. Where in the school did you find it? Was it a third floor on a chemistry lab? Was it the library? Was it the lost and found drawer? What kind of object is it? Is it a device that someone uses? Is it a document, maybe a note or a form or a letter, maybe a timetable? And what does that say? maybe it's a piece of media. It's a newspaper clipping or a recording or a podcast title or a photograph. Or maybe it's a representation of a ritual, like a physical leftover of something that people do in that time. And you can be as creative as you need for this. These are not exhaustive by any means. So, what is the situation when you found it? Describe the environment. Who is around? What are they doing? What can you hear?
My God.
Setting the mood. Um, yeah, and then you describe the object. What does it look like? What does it do? What does it say? Give it a name or a title, and finally visualize it. You can sketch it, you can generate it, or you can find a reference image if that captures your object, and you can paste it here. Any questions?
I like that name, Julian or Shreya. Which one of you put that name? The illustrious.
I put that in,
I like
illustrious.
that. That sounds like something. There's still marketing teams, so
Yeah, that's right.
they spent a lot of hours on that.
That was fun.
Yeah,
Hey,
good
um,
times.
amazing. I think we are just waiting for Soham to come back. Oh,
There
he's
he
here.
is.
Okay, great.
Hey.
Okay, amazing. Do we can do a quick shout out. Do we want to go? Everyone wants to go and share what they came up with.
Yeah, happy to do that. I mean, Pavel and I are team one, so
Okay.
just go in that order.
Okay,
Let's see
cool.
here. Well, okay, so we talked about just the high school experience in general, and one of the things that we just kind of centered on was that for us, high school was like less about learning and education and more the social experiment that is growing up and understanding and becoming yourself. And because all of my most profound memories from high school have nothing to do with anything I learned in class, and it's everything around that. The way so we thought in a world where AI has hoovered up all of the data in the world and effectively homogenized culture, homogenized learning, the same way that right now we all like we were both characterizing it as like, when I was growing up, I had a record collection. I had spend money on a specific set of records that I would listen to, and I really kind of identified with the genre of music that I listened to along with my friends, and that was our little cultural clique. But now everyone has Spotify. Everyone has access to absolutely everything, and music has become effectively genreless for the most part.
Yeah.
So this is happening to education, it's happening to information, it's happening to culture. We're seeing it with, everyone watches the same TV show, everyone watches the same movie, everyone saw Backrooms, everyone's watching Odyssey. It's like the need for feeling special and building culture is really important in high school. So we came up with this idea of like there's this pirate reality channel. Kids basically come up with ways to carve out their own little niche and communicate in clandestine, hidden ways. In our perspective, was like they were communicating in plain sight, but using tools like a UV flashlight and UV graffiti, and you needed to know where to look, kind of like you needed to know where to be when the bus picked you up to take you to the rave. Anyways, Pavel, how could you please augment on that?
Yeah, so the idea was that the ultimate part of participating in institutionalized education is trying to be a part of something bigger, like like a group, and like we all need to belong to something. So we ended up with this idea that in the future, where people will have a lot of different like smart earpieces, maybe VR visors, or like VR glasses or things like that, those things that used to be countercultures, subcultures, like cliques or things like that, will actually tune into a different shared but very intimate realities. So it will be possible to stay online with all my like Discord friends or something like that all the time. So for sure, all those like popular kids or like geek kids or like what have you, will have their own secretive realities. And we borrowed this idea and this concept from like pirate radio stations. This idea that actually there is like a secret code of the day, or like an access code or something like that. So there may be those hidden spaces in every high school where people who are in the know, maybe using things like UV light, or maybe heat surfaces, a surface, like touch based temperature adjustments or stuff like that, to reveal certain codes, which then will let them to participate in those pirate real channels, which actually are, just overlays on top of whatever services or hardware devices you are already using. So in the Miro, we put together this idea that you may have like a random wall in some kind of like a underground service area, like a boiler room access corridor, where basically when you put some UV lights over there, there will be like a Konami style access code that you can put into your like visor in a certain way, and then you can join in this cool experience that again is only audible and visible to you. So you can then take your classes, you can participate in like whatever things you need, but you have like this access of like an overlay. Let's say everyone is a zombie, or there is like a certain genre of music playing all the time. So that was our idea of what happens in the high school.
Fascinating. Did you have any ideas about like people's, like students' relationship to like learning something formally or informally, and applying effort or like struggle basically? What does their relationship look like to that?
Absolutely. So like, every time you have those secret societies, or like, secret cliques or groups, for sure they're like exchanging all the time, like different tricks and tips, how to learn things faster, or maybe there is a very particular biohacking kind of a thing where you blink very, very fast, and then certain context is getting memorized or unlearned. So again, like those concepts that you will still need curiosity, or you will need to unlearn a lot of things over the course of your formal education, could be really interesting. Or maybe it will be like a hidden Fight Club style, kind of an illegal activity where people are trading their micro credentials for illegal substances, or off-grid illegal culture.
Wow. Yeah, this is reminding me of like, so I mean, this is making me think about like going away from like a classroom style, in India at least, or Oman where I grew up, it's like 1:40 students. People are teaching students are teaching each other in smaller groups and have their own way of communicating. That's reminding me of that kind of world?
Yeah, it could be done. This could be like clandestine study groups that allow people to learn the way they would rather learn than maybe the homogenized AI learning curriculum that is developed by technology and data in general.
Yeah. Did anyone else have questions?
I like it. I like the vibe of kind of unstructured learning, and the just everything associated with pirate radio. I think is super cool. Just that. Always wanted to run a pirate radio station. I think more because I like the vibe of it. Just being able to, because it's got these associations with like, um, you know, Blackburn Terrace, underground radio station broadcasting. We're on the move now, kind of thing. It's like, and then I don't know if it was true or rumor, like there was something about in American Graffiti, Ron Howard's. It was George Lucas. Ron Howard was in it. Did you guys see that movie? Takes place all in I think one day or one evening in a small town in California, kind of thing. And there's Wolfman Jack. He's like the background kind of vibe of the thing. And one guy says like he's always out there, man. He's just always on the move. He's like circling the globe in an airplane. Just that sense of being, out there and yeah. And then there was in that kind of sci-fi movie, The Kitchen. Did you guys see that? It's worth seeing. It's kind of it's got an interesting sci-fi vibe, but the kitchen is like this um kind of, I guess what might be like a tower block kind of project, housing project, but it's like expansive in London, which is kind of under, it's all the beautiful things that you would want to occupy, except for the fact that the police come through and crack people's heads every once and again. But it has like, like it's got like little ad hoc businesses, like this is where you can go get noodles, and this guy's got this is where you go get a haircut. So it's a very organic kind of community. And outside of it is just kind of like boring, regular kind of businesses. But this is what really vibrant. And in that there was like the DJ, forget his name, but he was also the background of the show. So you would hear his broadcast. And he was the kind of in the film, like the literal voice kind of narrating what was going on. And then of course you got to have Samuel Jackson in Do the Right Thing as senior Mr. Love Daddy, I think he was, who's just the kind of consciousness of the community. So all that is super resonant. I just went off on a complete tangent about pirate radio. I feel like Dre would have been like a pirate radio guy. He would have made a rig. You would have had like it in the back of your pickup truck, kind of going around. You would have had like a boom mic, giving
I was
people like latest updates.
I was telling Pavel that when I was in high school, I used to drive like a 1977 Mercury Comet and have a CB in it. I still have a CB in my truck to this day because of this, but my friends and I, we all had CBs, and this is like before cell phones, and that's how we would communicate. We could all get in our cars on our way to school in the morning. We'd talk to each other on the CB. We would make plans by, like, we were
Yeah.
coordinated. We got to school and shit happened. It was awesome.
Yeah, CB. We had CB when I'm sure I was the instigator for that in the family. Like, hey, we got to get a CB radio. We're going on a road trip. Are you kidding me? If we don't have a CB, we're done for it.
And this is another reason why I really like that Rethink Radio that Rick is involved in, because I discovered college radio when I was in high school, and I used to go Sunday nights and host a metal show with this guy, and it was just like this. I love the idea of like community radio, small
Yeah.
frequency.
Yes.
But yeah, Julian, you and I both share this. I would like to do a pirate radio thing, like a little shoutcast stream with some cool shit on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also reminded me like when you were narrating your story of like a treasure hunt kind, like hide and seek or, scavenger hunt kind of learning that you follow your curiosity and then it leads you to some place and maybe that kind of learning environment.
Yeah, I think the learning that we were going for was less about the academic learning and more about the social learning. Um, it's the most memorable of all the learning I did in high school personally.
Nice. Should we move on to the next board?
Yes, that's us, me, Julian, and Joel.
Okay. Who wants to present?
Want me to start it off?
Yeah, you start, Joel.
All right, cool. So I'll start with we started with Julian put us in an interesting mood talking about, I think it was Mr. Gilbert, was that his name? He had a teacher back in school that like taught like a kind of like a hiking outdoor kind of class. So it's like we're getting in the mood of like what's memorable about school and like what are the things that can happen there that maybe universal but at least memorable, right? And so then we were talking about well, at one point, like I'd even said, like it's 20 years from now, if AI handles the math and the engineering and all that, why is there a school? Is there a school? Is there still like do you have to go, what do you go learn? And then so like Julian was like bringing up, well, then creativity. So let's say that is the case that like, a lot of the math and engineering stuff is kind of handled by AI.
Yeah.
That there would still be, what would you want to do for like personal kind of fulfillment? So like creativity, art kind of classes. And then we got into a lot of kind of the up in and out of like the tech and then backing up a couple times. And the idea that yeah, like I'll say it was funny that Julian mentioned there was a story he'd seen about the Nobel Prize for math. That someone's just like, well, I'll just use AI or whatever, use Claude for it or something. So, here we have in here, maybe there's like a Nobel Prize for prompting for each of instead of the disciplines anymore. So, but the creativity is there. And maybe if all, there's not a lot of work to do by humans in the engineering and the so on, there's like a shit ton of art teachers now. It's like a flip of what we have today. So maybe there's like a large volume of art teachers. So like these students have like maybe even one-on-one art teachers working with them. Um, and then so to get into like the thing that we saw there, the idea would be around like painting, creating, doing art. There's this type of brush um, called the illustrious. So this idea that it mixes different kinds of things like haptic technology so that when you're painting with it, maybe because a lot of paintings are three-dimensional and that there's a stroke to the brush stroke, if the paint comes off, like very impressionistic. So there's stuff like that. Like what would it feel like? What would it do? How would the AI be helping you in different ways? Maybe like a mentor along with the human teacher. So maybe I'll pass it over. Someone else in the group wants to add some more.
I think we're trying to find the way to not go down the oh, it's all going to be AR or VR kind of thing. Like we're trying to imagine if this is 20 years out, that maybe that happened, but then maybe people were like, oh, people actually used to, like the kids do nowadays, people used to like listen to this vinyl stuff and they put a needle on it and somehow it would play the music. Like I can't figure it out, but it's really cool. And look at these, it's big and you can hold it in your hand, which is kind of cool. And it's got this weird kind of like crackle to it when you put this thing they call a needle down. Doesn't look like a needle to me, but it's kind of cool. And my uncle has some of these, and I was going through, and he was explaining to me like what happens if at some point people are like, "Oh, dang, people used to paint with brushes, like we were just using our finger in free space," and someone was like, just felt into the analog, the texture of the paint, the smearing and I mean it's beautiful to see and it's beautiful to feel. And so, maybe in this moment when um when creativity, human creativity and ingenuity, like that particular spirit is brought back into the conversation around whatever education becomes. And maybe it's not even like, yeah, maybe to, what Joel said, it's like, yeah, I mean, the math thing, it's sort of all sorted out. Like there's some people who are sort of interested in it in the same way people are interested in like, Greek poetry. It's a little weird. He does math on the weekends. Like, what? That's so weird. That the creativity side of it is brought back and the idea of having a paintbrush that is maybe not just a piece of wood with camel's hair, but maybe it's got some kind of, maybe there's some I think one of the things we talked about, like if it remembers everything you've painted for some reason. Again, trying to stay away from like the expected stuff, like, well, couldn't it just have you paint the masterpieces? And people, might be like, well, why would I want it to do that?
Yeah.
So it's like it's a brush, it's cherished, you don't want to lose it the same way you might cherish a favorite pen or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. We were kind of going there trying to represent that spirit in this one object that Shreya grabbed out of this kid's hand. The kid's still crying probably in 2045. Like,
Wait, what's the story behind that?
Like that's my illustrious V3. Hey, one thing just to add in that we didn't, it's funny, we talked about visual arts, right? But with like the first group talking about music and then Julie, like you mentioned the vinyl, the needle. I wonder we didn't talk about music. So again, I don't know if there'd be literally like a violin anymore, maybe. Or would we like with the paint, would you paint some music? I'm gonna paint some violin. I don't know,
mm,
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the situations where what are we learning in that they would foster individual creativity. So Julian called it LCD, which is least common denominator, which is the new LLM, which is the least common denominator. He gave that title to it.
Okay.
And art is the form of self-expression that they were teaching. Everything else was something that you can get at your fingertips, but how do you express yourself? Um,
And I'll say, unfortunately, Julian found this real existing image of a thing that now I have to go look up and try not to buy. I don't know. I'm scared of what this thing is. I like it when the school just gives it to you. That's better.
Yeah.
You only get one
Yeah.
per year, like your number 2 Eberhard Faber pencil. Like, make it last, kid.
That's so interesting because right now students are getting answers instantly. So it's almost like they don't need to have patience anymore. Like they're not, no, it's not tested. So and they're so used to that, or getting used to that right now. It seems like 20 years down the line, they would need to retain that level of patience and apply that level of effort, and they would want to do it in analog ways to express themselves through art. And maybe it's not necessarily to learn STEM subjects. That's what I'm getting from this. Any other questions, comments, thoughts?
I really like the idea of like the process, like, replicating someone else's process, like, following exactly all those like brush strokes that it took to create like this particular painting, like, basically like living the art as it was created. That would be like a super interesting pastime, and also like, experience for like learning, but also for fun. I'm pretty sure that, for example, drawing a screen by Monk could be really interesting in a way of relieving stress. Um, but also, like, coming back to this idea of answers, maybe that would be the whole educational thing very, very soon, in that reality where actually students are not asked for answers, they are given answers, and then they are asked to create questions, which are usually leading to those answers. And this is something that a lot of teachers is already experimenting with. So not necessarily like, you're giving someone an answer, and then you're asking them, like, what kind of questions or what kind of prompt led to that output. So that reversal could also, like, help you reverse engineer how things work, and make curiosity a thing, even for those people who can access all fathomable knowledge with a simple instruction. So yeah, I really like this. I would definitely get one, and I'm really happy for a school like this one to happen very soon.
Yeah. Awesome. Do we want to go to the next one then?
Yes.
Soham, do you want to take it?
Yeah, I can take. Yeah, just a moment. I was still seeing the brush. Okay. Uh,
Fascinated by the
yeah,
brush.
yeah. I would definitely want one, but yeah. Yeah. So the thing is, I was thinking like I did my schooling in India only. So we had classes like 30, 40 students together, and there were like a dedicated like a class periods for sports and all. But every gap time we had, we just go out and play. It doesn't matter like football, cricket, any type of like soccer, anything. We just do random things, so that was exactly playing. So that I'm coming from that imaginations how school would have been in 2045. So we thought of a sports drawer, because there in every school there used to be a part like a sports room where everything regarding sport you just put it there. It doesn't matter, it can be football, bat, anything. You just go there and try to find something playable and just start to play with it, because in 30 minutes you need to play as you want to play as much as you want. So so I was thinking if there could be that room, how that room would be looking in 2045. Yeah, so we thought of the object could be a controller. It's like the same controller. If you go down here, uh, it's the same controller like how we play FIFA now, right? But it's actually the kids are playing like football with actual robots, like you have seen the Boston Dynamic robots, like the BART. It was there for the whole World Cup everywhere. So if these type of robots like Boston Dynamic robots from 2027, they upcycle that robot like a makeshift robot. The old robots, they have did the makeshift things to actually playing the soccer with those robots, and with this like controller, like a PES controller, but it could be like FIFA might have collaborated with let's say Boston Dynamics, and they are providing those robots maybe in 2035, but they are playing with this joystick or this controller and playing with the robots. So that was the kind of idea. So now we talked about how like in that like game room, people are like trying to change the batteries because it's a half time. They need to change the batteries or need a leg or new hand or something like that. They are just trying to makeshift things. Some robot malfunctioned and they just went out of the out of the door. Something is happening. It's like how the football halftime generally happens, but it is happening with the robots. So yeah, so that was the whole kind of idea about the world and the object. Yeah. You want to add something? Yeah. Yeah.
I think you're muted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I think what the idea that I got from discussing this with Soham is uh, like just it put me into the mindset of learning a new sport. And so if students are learning football, but they're not doing it physically themselves, they're not running on the fields, they're doing it through the robots. And they're learning football through these controllers. So maybe they're less aware and in line with their own physicality, and that mind-body connection is disconnected in themselves, but maybe they're more aligned with the physicality of a robot and the agility that a robot has on the field. And yeah, just like the physiology of a robot and what it takes to have them play good football. So complete disconnection with their own body, but more connected to robots who play football.
Sorry, maybe I could be wrong. Is every time I play with this video games, I say my hand-eye coordination is not there and I am not able to do it. So maybe they do have hand-eye coordination because they are using these controllers. It requires some level of connection to be able to control everything that they are controlling.
Yeah, I think hand-eye is probably strong, but what about like the entire body? And it's such a physical sport, right?
The one thing I like is like the subtle nuances of the battery switching. It's kind of like the World Cup hydration break, the electricity break. But it's funny because I'm thinking, oh wait, it's 20 years from now. Why don't just have like everything's free power, solar, but maybe the climate's screwed up. There is no solar, sun's not coming through. And then I saw it's upcycled from 2027. So I like the subtle kind of nuances there of like maybe they're older ones that only run on the older batteries because to have like thousands of them so every school can have them, they just kind of have to repair them and build them. Maybe there's another class like the robot repair class, that works along with them. I don't know.
Yeah.
The new auto shop.
Yeah, because we thought like in India we kind of do, it's called jugaad. It's like a like frugal innovation kind of. Whatever you get and you just make something with it, and there is less money for sports. Okay, like you go play with your thing. So I was thinking in that same line, people are trying to make makeshift players in future with the old robots from like 2027s, like the BART is already there. So maybe they are dismantling those robots and make a football player out of him, maybe in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. Any more thoughts, comments?
In one of the maybe it is new, in one of the conferences in China, they have all these little robots doing like WWE kind of fights and fighting with each other. And it reminded me of that when all the robots are there and people are cheering on both sides and what is the robot doing. Um, I mean, your story was something I could visualize it that, oh, this is a bit of it is already happening in China right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone I know shared a video with me a couple weeks ago of that. That was like in a ring. I know there's a Hugh Jackman movie that was like that with humans
Uh,
controlling it. But so I love this because I'm thinking of like the obvious, like my son played a lot of he plays a lot of Roblox. So there's the obvious robot Roblox.
Yeah.
Imagine like Fortnite or Roblox, but like a Fortnite-sized world, but you can see your real robot there. I think that'd be fun. I'd want to play it too.
I guess the movie was Full Metal Jacket, I guess, or the boxing one, right? Hugh Jackman. Yeah.
So maybe for learning, I was also thinking of like learning by doing. So if they are building the robot, repairing it, there is this learning aspect of actually doing it and then experimenting it. Um, rather than just getting data. Like everything is by doing something. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Should we move on to the last board then? Tenacious Appendix D.
It's the hidden identity.
Hidden, I know. So mysterious.
Ah, yes.
I what I heard from the presenters was a couple of things. One was the effort to let students fail in order to learn, and in general, the sweat, the struggle, is what provokes learning, or at least some of learning. And kind of against that, I placed this notion of what we're thinking. We often hear of voice interfaces, gestural interfaces, interfaces where you don't actually touch or physically interact with anything, and you're just kind of moving your body. And the idea came to me that in some spectrum of time, we'll move away from mice and keyboards and other things we touch, even physical screens or even screens we tap, and that will involve more physical expression. You will be moving your body and you will be sweating. And so as we move away from physical interfaces that in a way are conveniences that make it easy for us, they're tools, right, to communicate with a computer, let's say. Right now we have to do it physically, and more physical exertion means more sweat. And so at some point in this spectrum of time, there was an effort to uh, track the effort that students were making, but instead of mental effort or I guess collaborating with mental effort, is physical effort, and tracking sweat. And this headband, and we have some various names on there. It was hard to come up with a good one. Membrane, a few others, and this was found as in the back of a gym kind of room locker under a desk, something, where we dig out this old tool, this old pedagogical tool to help understand the struggles, right? The struggles of students. Anything you want to add, Mark?
No, that was kind of it. I mean, we didn't know exactly what it was, with the sensors and everything, but we figured out that it was some kind of combination of scoring between the physical effort to do something, the actual like measuring the physical toil to get something done, as well as the output. So it has to do with the effort of the input as well as the output, right? And yeah, that's part of it. We didn't quite get it. I mean, room is the same. I think there was probably like some of those pink reddish rubber balls for dodgeball. Like those things never die. Even 20 years from now, we'll still have those. Somewhere behind a cage of those, we found this sweaty kind of McEnroe style terry cloth headband with the sensors in it. Because that'll come back every 10, 20 years or so anyway. So we figured that that was pretty much the fashion of the time as well.
Yeah, persistent historical object in some sense, always.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea of struggle, the idea of effort changing as we move away from physical devices.
Yeah, is it one of the, so yeah, membrane was one of the names. One of the early names.
Cortex.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Cortex. And then also like thinking of the mountain was Bjorn Berg, potentially as a name, but yeah, I think membrane was the one we ended up with.
I love membrane. Yeah, I think this is very interesting idea. I think what I find interesting is that I think what y'all are suggesting is that people will use their physical bodies more. And in Soham's and my discussion, we were thinking that people will be more sedentary and be more aware of robots and how they operate and their physicality and their anatomy and so on, and are less aware of their own physicality. So it's like almost the opposite, which is so interesting.
Mm. Yeah, you think of like AR glasses and people like what are the games, Tamagotchi or various kind of games where people are actually in the real world and sort of like the imposition of an imagined virtual, right? Impels you to take physical actions.
Mm.
And I just found that interesting.
Yeah. Any other thoughts, comments?
This idea of a game also reminds me of this like ever-present situation in every classroom everywhere on the planet, when the teacher is faced with a question like how this is going to be useful in everyday life. So in the chat you can find a fantastic project that I saw recently, where basically you have like a civilization style map where basically you have all the concepts connected of like all the ideas that the child is learning during primary school or basically the formal education, and you can see how things connect to each other and what it takes to get to, let's say, certain algebra concepts, or maybe Euclidean geometry. It takes this and that. So maybe exposing this kind of structure to children or to students at some point could be also quite interesting, because then you can see what are you really trying to unlock, and then you can see learning this or that could also make you aware of like what are things that are interesting for you, and what is interesting, what things are worth being curious about. So yeah, I really like the concept, this curriculum thing being exposed as a game that maybe even like traverse in virtual reality to a certain
You know,
extent.
Jaron Lanier had this great an interview I saw with him, or maybe an article. He was, the father of virtual reality, or one of them, the grandfather, and he said something to the effect of, we most people misunderstand what virtual reality is, and they think of a classroom, and you're kind of in a classroom, and there's an avatar, and there's like virtual board and chalk or whatever. And he says, no, that's not virtual reality. What virtual reality is that you're the protractor, right? You're the chalk, right? Like it's a shift in your activity within the virtual world, and it ties to, at least in my mind, to what we're talking about. Yeah.
Awesome. We've come to the end of our workshop today. Thank you so much for participating. Really appreciate it. Just to give you all some context, we are developing and drafting a proposal to conduct this workshop at South by Southwest, the education version. And so we want your feedback on what we just did, basically, did the format, what worked about the format, what didn't work, any other thoughts y'all might have about this workshop and how we might, drive certain points home even more.
One thought that came to my mind, but this is very particular to me, and just when Joel and Shreya and I were in the room, is that Shreya reminded us at one point like, oh, like it needs a name. And I was like, oh yeah, there's a form to work on. And yeah, I'm not sure. I get I get wanting to have a form, but also I feel like it kind of I could feel all of a sudden like, oh no, now I got to deal with the form. Wait, what are the questions? And my mind started operating differently. You know,
Yeah.
like I went into uh first of all, am I a problem now because I overlooked this and I just told a long-winded story about my, my grade school gym teacher. See what I'm saying? It's like, and so
Yeah.
I wonder about that. I
Yeah.
wonder if you didn't have the form, I know some people would freak out because they're like, no, how am I supposed to even do this? Like,
Yeah.
don't I need something to look at to coordinate my thinking? There got to be steps to this. So I'm not saying that it doesn't have value. It's just I think it takes you into a particular mode. The other thing that I would, again, this is a very me thing, is one of the things that I did, which was easy to do with Joel and Shreya, was to be like, let's not give the answer that Elon would give, or like a tech zealot would give, which is like, it. First of all, there's not going to be any school because everyone's going to have AI. So this is a stupid question to even begin with. You know what I mean? Like, but how do you find the way to kind of bring someone into a mode of thinking where it's like, you say, find the way to say, not what Elon says the future is going to be, the future you want to inhabit. And I think, we did a good job in our group. We did a good job because I was there. We did a good job in our group because we we started asking questions like, well, what world do you actually want to inhabit? Where do you want to be? Do you really want to be in a world where all, art is done by virtual reality? Or, Joel, we're just spitballing, so it's no, there's nothing's, right or wrong. Joel's like, well, suppose the gym room you did virtual reality to go backpacking. I'm like, well, what?
Yeah, there was this time when Julian was like, "Is that the future you want?" I'm like, "No, it's just what popped into my head from what we were talking about. Not at all."
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
so I
that's what
wonder,
Elon
like,
said. That's
yeah,
what
maybe
Elon said.
instead of like giving the name, because also for me, the name, I feel like started to go to like a product name almost. Maybe if you like swap out the name question for like some more. I don't know if you need guidance for what Julian's talking about. I don't know if there need to be rails, but is it supposed to be like optimistic or not, or um,
I think it could be. That's a good, question to wonder for the, in the context of workshop. Like, if are there soft rails? Is it like, are you saying, would you say, um, the future you want to inhabit, not the one that you think is the right answer, or something? Like, do you want to inhabit that, or even more directly, like, if depending on the context of the workshop, like, take your fondest memory of school and now imagine it in an equally potentially fondly remembered future. So what do you imagine your what would you like your grandchildren to experience, if you're talking 20 years in the future, as their high school or primary school? I think primary school is a little bit better for some reason. Maybe I've got better memories of primary school.
Okay.
uh
Yeah.
I think that's where, like, these really beautiful, you haven't quite yet been bullied by the asshole who had shitty parenting. That happens in high school. um you haven't been called a loser or a computer nerd when that was a bad thing. All these different ways in which you could, help people into the world that where you want to have, like, um you really want to help people imagine into the future. If part of this is introducing them to a particular way of doing foresight or whatever, help them imagine into it, um on their own terms somehow. I don't know. What do you think, Pavel? Pavel knows this stuff.
It's great to be back. I already mentioned to Dred that I'm recovering after quite a long sick leave. So again, like, thank you so much for this experience and this workshop. It's great to be back. Um, Julian, you mentioned this idea of, like, creating a reality, or, like, bringing everyone into a reality. And Isn't the curriculum basically the manifestation of the world we all want to build? So like today, like, most curriculums in most countries are like a reflection of this idea of like an industrial society in which people are fitting into certain niche roles. So basically you are learning like everything you need to function in a society. So maybe just by discussing this curriculum of the future, we can actually discuss the future we would really like those people to build. So that could be a really interesting way of discussing the visions of the future, like what those pupils are actually, what those students are actually learning about, like what are the lessons, what are the subjects, what are the skills that you are supposed to have, and how you are actually participating in the society, like how it's going to look like. Because again, computer science was introduced at some point, so people are illiterate with computers and they can work using one and so on. So maybe just switching a gear a little towards discussing particular subjects, or like the curriculum itself as a manifestation of that future, could be a really interesting way of fine-tuning this conversation slightly towards the outcome of all those objects being found in the future.
Mm.
Is it an answer that met your expectations, Julian?
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious about other perspectives on how one does this effectively. I think the thing you don't want is just to get a bunch of sheets back, which are like, pictures of people with augmented reality, headsets on, that kind of thing. Um,
Yeah, I had a quick thought, Pavel. Like, I like how you were saying, I like it's easy to forget that the goal of school, and my wife's a teacher, the role of school is to help create people that will be a positive, functioning part of society in 10 or 15 years, right? Not like the times tables or whatever. That seems to be what it's turned into, right? Um, so I was thinking in an activity like this, you don't want to like overdo it. Like, how would you like say it's a fourth grade classroom? How would you, if you just hopped in the future, you were there for 10 minutes and grabbed something and got back, how much, what would there be in there that would tell you like what society is like and whatever? But I was thinking elementary school, kind of like Joni said, the younger might be better, where I don't know if they literally kind of like pictures of firefighters or different jobs on the wall, but there might be something like that of like that gives you a glimpse into what that society is like 20 years from now, that bridges what's in the school to society without it being like obviously over the top biasing too much by saying, "Hey, when you're in there in the future, make sure you look around the classroom and see what the job titles were," because who knows, that'll bias too much. But something like that that implies you should be thinking about its role in society.
Yeah, the object fits, it connects to a certain like system of other objects and system of rituals and that. And I think if you pull it, in my experience, if you specifically ask people to talk about that ecosystem and focus less on the object itself, like if there is some kind of guidance, move people away from over describing the object and describing the context a little bit more. The guide or no guide thing, Julian, is a really interesting question. It's that, tell a kid to draw or tell a kid to draw a flower problem. And I never really know what the right balance is there, because if you anticipate that the room has not come across this before, like with that given audience, do you need to give them more tight guidance in terms of output so that they're free to use their imagination on other things and not worried about what it is that they're supposed to produce? Right. I don't know that there's a good answer to it, but I feel like there's always a balance between those two things.
Can I say one thing really quick? It makes me think of there's an exercise that Bill Buxton, if those are familiar with Bill Buxton from like the UX HCI world. There's an idea that I stole from him in a present. He gave a presentation. I was there, and I've used it a lot. Where he has everyone pull out paper and says, "Draw your phone," and then he says, "Now it gives you like a minute or 30 seconds at most, and then draw your phone's user interface." And then the third one's the fun one, where it says, "Now draw the experience of using your phone." And I think that's kind of around like what you're talking about, Mark. Like, Because you could say like, what's the object or something. It's kind of like an analog of that, where it's like there's the thing, but then there's kind of the experience of the thing, and then you keep going a little more abstract, like up to the societal impact or relationship of the thing. What's the sweet spot in there? If you're gonna like ask someone to do one of them, that will nudge them to inherently do the other for free without you having bias to them, right? If that makes sense.
Yeah, so I'm hearing that I guess there's no um, positives of them even prototyping the object. That was one of the ideas we had, but I think what I'm hearing y'all say is that it's more about the world and the context and the system around the object, so less focus on the object. So prototyping the object itself may not be necessary.
I
Maybe.
Or
think
making
the
sure
object helps for sure.
Mhm.
You know, to have something material to anchor ideas. That's why I was trying to, I didn't quite communicate it particularly well, but it I'm the brush is, yeah, I would love to have it. I have no idea what it is or what it does, but let's imagine that we've imbued it with these capabilities that make us say, I want that. And I think that's what we're trying to do to a certain degree, is imagine what the thing would be, and it stands in like a totem for all these ideas. So, the materiality of paint somehow was part of our conversation. We just need something to look at so that we can then remember the key aspects of the conversation we had, represented as this,
Yeah.
very quickly conjured advertisement.
I feel like the prototype is a great tool to make it memorable, because we're all very visual in how we do it. But I think of how I have multiple modalities of when I'm prototyping something like this, and I always have to go back and think of, like, even when I'm working, it's the strategy is more important, the concept is more important than the execution. You have to make sure that the execution speaks to the concept. But with that said, the nice thing about prototyping something is that uh, you might have a really good idea, and the prototype faithfully articulates what your idea is, or you have an an inkling of where it needs to go, and the prototype isn't meant to be prescriptive. The prototype is, like Julian, like you said, the brush. Like you're putting an idea. The prototype is a way to kind of help visualize it and give you an opportunity to question what it might do and how it might work. And I think that's even more powerful sometimes than offering a prescriptive prototype. Like when I think of the brush, and I was just thinking of, like, in school we tend to learn rote memory, but with a brush like that you could learn muscle memory, and you could learn the practicing and learning the brushstrokes and guiding you, and you can start to get better so that you can properly forge the master's paintings. But yeah, the prototype can work in a whole bunch of different ways. Maybe one way is to ask people to think about, like, how they want their prototype to be consumed. Is a provocation, or is it a prescription?
I also like it's plus one for the prototypes. They are definitely like vehicles for communication, and it is also like you already saw today that there was like a lot of conversations starting because of someone sharing something. So maybe you could consider like having two stages of the workshop. The first one, especially if your crowd is like educational professionals, or like teachers and stuff. So maybe the first one could be just the object, but then maybe you can again create those breakout rooms and like mix up the groups and ask them about the context. Like what is possible with this? Like what kind of lessons are there? What kind of exercises are possible with those technologies or those approaches? Because again, like with exactly with this, let's stick with the brush example. Like embodied cognition is something that enables muscle memory, and the whole memorization process is much easier, like when the recall involves a lot more connections, not just the information, but also all the associations you can create. So for sure, for professionals, like speculation about the context, the broader context, or second and third grade consequences of those initial artifacts, I'm pretty sure it will be super entertaining for them, and could be also leading to other things like let's plot the curriculum. What are the subjects, or how the school is structured. Do we really need the gym anymore? Because maybe it's solved in a different way.
Yes. Do y'all have advice for how we might how we might make some of these learnings actionable? Because I think what the conference said is that they want these workshops to be as actionable as possible, stuff that they can literally apply on Monday morning. So we go to, 2045 or whatever, we come back to present day. How do we make that experience basically actionable in their day to day?
Maybe with a third act, with like backcasting kind of an exercise, where basically you take those things and then you try to, take them back to today. What is possible today? What we could be trying to do today? Like even this idea of a brush could actually, when you have like those point by numbers, maybe with layered point by numbers, we could actually try to recreate something like this. And the idea of teaching arts like this and generating those kinds of handouts for students could be very simple with AI. Maybe that's something we can start doing today.
One thought. So my wife's a middle school teacher, special ed, special education middle school. But I know that if you were to give her, she'd ask for time. She'd love to have. But I'm thinking they have these professional development things where sometimes they bring in outside speakers, but there's not always funding for that. In many cases, or some cases, the teachers in the school district will teach and run a workshop. So if the intended participants are teachers or people that work in school districts, it could be something like you're going to give them materials so that they can run a similar workshop back in their own school district as a way to spread the ideas. Now, again, they're typically looking a lot nearer future, pun intended, than 2045. So I would think if you want to connect it to help a teacher get excited about bringing it back to their district, there should be something about this that maybe a variant where if they were to run it, or maybe it's part of how you do this, you look ahead 20 years, you bring it back, what could they do to then do something, you know, the idea they'll run the workshop themselves maybe, and then run ideas, come up with ideas that could help them with no new funding, because that's difficult in their district, right?
I've got a random idea. What if you could maybe use AI to help backcast the prototype or the thing that you put together, and just write a skill, and not so that it's actually coming up with the actual ideas, but to help feed some ideas that the group can work together to make that human decision. But I just imagine you could create a skill that says, here's a prototype. I want you to look at the prototype that is supposed to exist 25 years from now, and what would need to be true 24 years from now for this prototype to exist, and then do that again at 15 years and 10 years and 5 years, and the last question is what needs to be true today in order for us to maintain that trajectory. So the present, where we are in the present, might not be where we need to be, and it might only be 3 feet to the left where we need to be in order to jump on that timeline. And that could be facilitated by AI giving you a smattering of ideas, and then the group can collectively decide what those things that need to be true are, so that the actionable thing at the end is that we have collectively agreed that this is what needs to be true today in order to action this future.
Would you think of different frameworks if the audience is, as like a product manager, product builder, product designer, or do these tools still apply to them as well? Do they value different things in terms of, what needs to be actionable?
I think more people involved make it better. And the only reason why I'm using AI as a tool for this is if you are conducting a workshop and you're trying to make it actionable the next day, you probably want to get a lot done in a short amount of time. So AI can scratch that surface for you. But historically, a backcasting session is best done with a diverse group of people. And you can have a creative person and a project manager and a civilian and a whomever in the team, and everyone can pipe in and collectively agree, like, yeah, you're right, this is what needs to happen. And just work your way back in 5-year increments, assuming that the technology that you're proposing in 25 or 30 years from now has some kind of futuristic element to it that we can't currently do today. And that would be either technologically, but also socially.
Yeah. Is a framework to anticipate unintended consequences of what you're building today and the decisions you're making today? Is that framework helpful at all in terms of it being actionable?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few different things. Like, I think if you could do like one of those like 3 horizons exercises, or I just like to simplify it as like wouldn't it be cool if, wouldn't it be bad if, and wouldn't it be crazy if? And those are 3 different ways of looking at where it could go.
Yeah, our initial idea was to steer a little bit on the unintended consequences. We were still like making the soup there and thinking of like when you build a ship, you also invent a shipwreck, and going from there on multi-usability, that all the tools would have positive use, negative use, and it's on how we use it. So just thinking about um, in our head, like, the productive struggle of this AI when these tools are made to remove effort and make it effortless. Productive struggle was one of the unintended consequences of it. So how can we think a little bit more on in that line? Was our initial idea and what we wanted to discuss with you, if that even sticks.
I mean, I have another framework
Mhm.
suggestion that like futures wheel is one that I really enjoy doing. It's the one that I probably do the most with any of my clients, or an extrapolation diagram. And you just, what's your central subject, and then what are the first order effects? And then you map that out, and then you start spinning out second order effects from each one of those first order effects, and you get to the third order effects, and then you're in the world of like new ideas, unintended consequences, and so on and so forth. And that's a really fun collaborative way to do it. I do the wheel a lot, but who's done it really that I really enjoyed was Mateus did an extrapolation diagram with us in Miro, where he basically had the central subject in the middle, and on one side was the positive, on the other side was the negative,
Mhm.
and each layer was the order effects, and then you could feed back on either side. And I thought that was I actually prefer structurally his framework for doing an extrapolation diagram than the bullseye.
Yeah, I was there in that one. I remember the columns and the middle one being, yeah.
Yeah, that would be really great. I found that really fun, and the way that he set it up is that he created like a red team and a blue team, um, and so a bunch of people were like going hard on the negative, and some people were going hard on the positive, and then you would switch roles and review each other's, and that was a really fun exercise, and it broke up the workshop into like very um, like manageable and logical steps.
Yeah. Awesome. We've taken a lot of everyone's time.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was
Thank
super
you so
helpful.
much. Yes.
Titus 10. Yeah.
Yeah, the Titus.
I was like,
Right,
when
that-
did when did you stop the timer there, Julian?
when
Yeah.
they played the walk off stage music.
Yeah.
Oops.
Nice. That was great. Super fun.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for
Thank
the
you.
feedback.
Thanks a lot
All
for
right.
the
Thank you.
feedback.
Yeah.
Keep
Good
us in a
luck.
loop. Keep us in a
Yeah.
loop when you
Mhm.
send us the link and we'll vote for your workshop.
Oh
Yes.
my God, thank you. Yes,
Yes.
Got
please.
it.
Nice.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye now.
Thank
Take off, you guys. See everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
And
Bye.